Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to DRL TV. My name is Ryan Branch. I'm here alongside Martin Wenzel this evening in the booth. We're coming to you live from Daytona International Speedway in sunny Daytona Beach, Florida for the Daytona 250. It's the first race of a 36 race season in the Dynasty Racing League Fastlane Cup Series. They follow the exact same schedule as NASCAR. Martin, are you ready for 250 miles of heart pounding action here tonight?
Boogity, boogity, boogity.
I take it that means you're pretty excited, Martin.
Oh, yeah, we'll see. We'll see how this goes. They're working on setting the field right now, getting them all in order. Little hiccup right now, but I think they'll get it. They'll get it figured out.
Yeah, I can't wait to get started here tonight. Just to give everybody a little insight on how the race has been set up. If you missed last week, essentially what they did is they did dual races just like they do in real NASCAR. So they ran two separate races with the odds and evens qualifying. And then the winners, in order. So the two guys who took the pole in the original qualifying, they take pole and second position here tonight, and then the field is set the rest of the way based on those two races. So the odds will fill out the inside lane all the way back, and the evens will fill out the outside lane all the way back. Who did we have in the poll last week? We had Anthony Burrows in first and Eric Johnson in second, right, Martin?
Yes.
So it looks like they might have had a little hiccup here tonight. Brandon Dalton seems like he's currently sitting up there as the leader right now. I'm sure they will adjust that as we start the race here. Might need to do a little manual black flag clearing by race control here as this race gets going, but I'm sure the guys with DRL will handle that just fine. Be exciting here tonight, huh, Martin? First race of the
Yep.
season. We're at a restrictor plate track. We know these guys do 200 miles an hour around this place. It can make for it can make for boring racing, but it can also make for very exciting racing when it comes down towards the end of the race. What are you thinking, Martin? You got any picks for who you think's going to come out on top here at Daytona?
Um. Well, it's kind of hard to tell. I mean, anyone can win it at Daytona. You just get those big wrecks, and the whole field can be scattered. I mean, I'd put my money on the Anthony Burrows. I mean, he's a guy that pretty much dominates. But Eric Johnson, yeah, those guys in front. I mean, those are two guys I would pick. But this is Daytona, where the whole thing could flip around.
Yeah, you really never know what's going to happen. They can anything really can go wrong. Somebody gets tapped in just the wrong way. Even Anthony Burrows, as good a driver as he has, if he gets tapped in the back end at the wrong time, there's nothing he can do to stop that car from going sideways. Am I right?
That's right.
So you're picking Anthony Burrows to take it home. I'm going with the dark horse here tonight. I think that Derek Pemberton's going to win this race, and he showed us what he had last week. For anybody that tuned in last night, he was racing very well in the Xfinity cars or the Grand National Series last night here on DRL TV. I think he has what it takes to take home a victory here. He bounced kind of back and forth last night from the rear of the field back to the front of the field, and I think that he has the ability to move up when it's needed.
Yeah, he had some issues with connections last night, so he was bouncing around literally on the track. But I think hopefully he's got that worked out, and yeah, he'll be a guy that's going to be pushing those leaders. He's very aggressive, and he's going to push for a win.
Yes, he is. You can't really blame him. There's a lot riding on this. In real life, of course, there's a huge prize purse that goes along with Daytona. We don't really have that here at the DRL. We kind of put that in last week at the shootout and the duels last week. So we let the guys win their money that way. But of course, there is payouts at the end of the season. So every race is going to matter here this season. And if you can come to a restrictor plate track and just run some safe laps around here. I think, what are we doing, 100 laps tonight? Just run 95 of them safe. Kind of stick in that single file line and make things work as you can, and then fight for those positions at the very end.
Yeah, that's basically what I did last night in the Grand National race, and just hang on and hope you get in position to do something. Unfortunately, by the end of the race, the guys, I think I was running that last restart, I was in 12th place, and everyone in front of me had damage, so it was really hard to make any moves. And we saw that at the end of the race that there was an aggressive driver in the back. J.R. Hager tried to get through, and the guys in front of him just didn't have the speed anymore because getting caught up in the big one a few laps earlier. And once you get stuck behind those guys, you're not going to be able to make a move unless you can somehow thread the needle and make it 3 wide.
Yeah, I don't. I was kind of thinking earlier today too. So we watched the last night. We watched those B cards run around here, and it was interesting. They can run two lines. The setup that they have on those cars can run a high line or a mid line and a low line. Find that doesn't really work in cup cars like that. So, but I was thinking, what if you'd have some guys move out on the outside line and try to make that line work the entire race long? Won't that eventually build up rubber in that mid lane, and maybe there'll be something there for that lane at the end of the race?
Oh, I'm sure we've seen it. I mean, again, it has a different car model. I mean, we see it in the trucks, and we saw it in the B cars, the Grand National cars, that you can run 2 lanes. You can get up on that high lane and do something. We saw that during the Winter Series. That's what happened to Blake Griffith. He was on the low lane, and the train kind of was trying to pass him by, and he tried to block it and caused the wreck. Knocked him out of the running for that one last season or in the Winter Series. And in the Grand National, we had 2 lanes the whole time. So I think people are going to try to work it. We did have some frustration during I believe the shootout and the duels. People were trying to get up there, and a lot of people don't want to stick up there so early in the race. Maybe later on, like as you said, run 95 laps safe, and then those last 5 laps, I think we'll see 2 lanes, 2 lines then.
Yeah, I hope they can make two lines work, man. It definitely makes for more exciting race, and obviously being on the track isn't as exciting down there because being on either stuck against that yellow line or stuck between the guy who's weaving trying to hold it down on that yellow line on the wall is not really fun. So you guys see my paints here are updating, just making sure I have everybody's proper paint scheme on for this evening. It looks like qualifying's coming to an end, so these guys will be taking the grid here in just a minute. Like I said, they did mess up a little bit. I'm going to go through the grid as best as I can. I think, is Brandon Dalton the only one that was out of place there, Martin, or can you tell?
I think there's a few others out of place. I'm going to pull up see if I can if we have a grid somewhere because we already know what the grid should be,
Right.
and then we can kind of let me see where can I find that.
Meantime, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull Anthony Burrows in here and get a quick interview with him. Anthony Burrows, you got a copy, my friend?
Yes, sir.
Hey, buddy, it's Ryan. Just checking in on you. Looks like there was a little bit of confusion there as far as who started where and what to do with the grid here at the beginning of this race. But you're starting on the pole tonight. How are you feeling about this race?
Feeling pretty good. Um, Connor Lane, who I'm working with, he's he just got in the session. I think he's gonna start from the back, so I don't really know who I'm gonna work with here. Hopefully, I can find someone to work with. Yeah, if I can just get someone to stick with in this, I think I have a shot. Just be there in the end.
Yeah, you did awesome last week in the duel. Ran in first position pretty much the entire race, and then that single file thing just got to you. Derek and trying to remember who it was. I think it was Ryan made the pass on you there on the outside and barely got around you towards the end of last week's duel. So you already had the pole locked up, though. Good luck tonight, buddy. We hope to see you at the end of the race.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Very welcome.
All right, I got the actual grid pulled up here,
What do we
so we
got,
can kind of
Martin?
go through that. So we got Anthony Burrows on the pole. Eric Johnson will be next to him on the outside, I would believe, right? I don't know how they're gonna. I don't know how they're gonna rearrange the lines. It might be all messed up that way, but it is Daytona. It will eventually kind of get it. Everything will shake out.
Yeah, I don't, after a good 5 laps here, everything's going to be all mixed up anyway. So So what are we looking at from? So we got Anthony, and then Eric, and then where we go from there on back.
Then we have Derek Pemberton in the Dr. Pepper 81. Joe Burchett in the Swamp Dust 84. We have Charlie Ryan running the Guinness 16. Chris Stouffer in the Hooters 07. Adam Chapman. I don't have his paint loading up yet. But he's in the 83. Probably the TRN network, I believe.
And my paints are still taking a little while to update here, too.
Yep. And we got Aaron James in the Kellogg's Cornflake 66. Nice looking scheme. I like that. Let's see. Then we should have Wade Hustad in the 32. So right now there is a few people mixed up in the middle of the field here.
Sure, they're going to get it all ironed out. Again, like you said, it is Daytona. You know, things are going to work themselves out as this race goes on. So you see these guys pull out onto the track, and we're ready to go live here.
I mean, if they really wanted to, they could just run a few extra caution laps and sort everything out if they wanted. I mean, I know I was watching about the 1979 Daytona 500, the Perfect Storm, the first big full-length race broadcast, and it had been raining all day, and the rain finally cleared up, and so they just drove, I think they drove 15 pace laps to start that race just to dry it off, because back then they didn't have the big air blowers. They just used the cars to dry off the track, so they could always do that if they want to sort things out. We'll see how it shakes out here once they get back in line. Hopefully they all get back in line before they throw the green, because otherwise this thing will be strung out.
I'm sure they're going to get it worked out here, Martin. Like I said, the admins here at Dynasty Racing League, they do a really good job of making sure these guys are in the proper order and taken care of. But, you know, sometimes it does come down to the drivers themselves. They got to be a little more cautious. So we'll see if they get this ironed out before it actually goes green here, or what's going to happen.
Yeah, you don't want it to go green while they're still ironing out, because then you're going to have a hard time with the draft.
And we got a lot of guys pulling up here in the rear. What's our first position right now?
Anthony Burrows. Okay, so they're just going to go green right now.
And they're off. So we do have Brandon Dalton down there in pit lane. I don't know if he is just going to start from the back now or if he's been removed from the race. You do see, just like I was talking about earlier, Derek Pemberton in the 81 already up there giving Anthony a run for his money on that outside line, Martin. I hope these guys try to make this outside line work, because I think if you do it the entire race, if they don't just give up on it and they try to go single file, if they try to do it the entire race, they can really make it work. In these overcast conditions we have here at Daytona tonight, I think that's only going to make it easier for that outside line.
Yeah, only two of them up there, though. No one else seems to want to help them out. Well, there are some further back. We got, I think, Joseph Novers, Jordan Gonzalez, and Daniel Hallis also trying the high line, but not in any position to help out Pemberton and Charlie Ryan right now.
Yeah, but you see, again, these two on that outside line, they kind of fall back a little bit in the corner, but then the run that they get coming out of the corners, it seems to be pushing them right back up against the leader. We'll see if they can keep that going and hopefully get a few more guys to join them and try to make a second line work. Currently have Anthony Burrows sitting in first position in the 62, followed closely behind by Eric Johnson. It's Derek Pemberton on the outside. Who's right behind him? The number 16, Charlie Ryan. That is the individual last week in the dual race who pushed Derek Pemberton to his victory in that second duel. So the odds duel, I think it was, to be broadcast. So but you see again, Derek Pemberton falls in a line, and they just stick that inside line. I don't know if everyone, you know, maybe they just want to run the single file, stay safe, and collect some laps here.
Yeah, it's only lap 3. A lot of time. So Anthony Burrows, Eric Johnson, and Joe Burchett, top 3.
for anybody watching here tonight, I've been a little under the weather last couple days. If I sound a little funny, I apologize for that. Hopefully, I'll be good to go for next week. Didn't want to miss the first race of the season here, though, Martin.
Nope.
Like I said, this is a 36-week season. There's tons of action to come. I don't know if Dynasty has decided whether or not they're going to do an all-star race or anything here yet, but there's tons of action this year. 3 different series across 3 different nights. Monday nights, we run our Grand National Series, which is in the B cars or Xfinity cars, as some of you might know them from NASCAR. Tuesday nights, like you're seeing tonight, we're running the Cup cars or A cars for you iRacing individuals. And then on Wednesday nights, we are running our Winona Road Truck Series. Tonight is obviously, it's the Fastlane Cup Series. It's sponsored by Fastlane Complete Car Care. And then, like I said, Winona Road sponsors the Truck Series. And then we have Daniel Hallis and the Northeast Ohio Ghostbusters sponsor our Monday night races, our Grand National Series.
Yeah, and Daniel Hallis has wanted us to clarify that the Northeast Ohio Ghostbusters aren't sponsoring it per se, that he's putting up the money for that, but he's getting their name out there. They do some great charity work in Ohio, so that's
exactly
why they are
right, Martin. Anybody who saw our video last night, there's links under the description for that to go to their website and donate. They're kind of like a Make-A-Wish Foundation, a local organization there in Ohio, though. But he did front the money himself for the sponsorship. Just wanted it to be on behalf of the Northeast Ohio Ghostbusters. So this looks like a typical Daytona race here, kicking it off at the beginning. It's like I said, it can be pretty boring when they just do this single file thing. But a lot of these guys, like I said, there's a huge season ahead of them. There's a lot at stake, and they kind of just want to ride around and collect some laps here and wait until the right time to make their moves. You know how long these guys have on fuel, approximately, Martin?
I want to say about 30, 35 laps.
You think that's
probably when they'll start going in?
Yeah. So
yeah, that's probably when they'll start going in.
If they have a full tank, I know you can push it and run yourself all the way to about 45 laps. But that's not necessarily where you want to be, right? Because if you're running on a green flag the entire race, and you wait till 45 to pit, and then you wait till 45 again, well, now you only have 10 laps left at the end of the race, and you're kind of not managing your tires as well as you're managing your fuel. So that 35 lap seems kind of like a safe bet, and we'll see when these guys decide to make their pit stops later here in this run.
Yeah, that's what happened last night in the Grand National. People started going in about lap 30, and then we had a big wreck, or slightly decent-sized wreck. Yellow flag came out, and about lap 32, I believe, and that's when the rest of the field came in for their fuel to make it the rest of the race. This race, you will need probably 2 stops to make the whole run.
So who's heading up this little pack in the back here, Morton? We got, who is that? We got John Mullins, Chris James. Am I right? Chris James is in the front of that, followed by John Mullins.
Yeah, Chris James,
Mark
John
Vega.
Mullins. Yeah, these are guys that I know. Mark Vega dropped to the back. He was given an EOL. Mitchell Briggs behind them, one of the league administrators. Yeah, I don't know if they were able to catch. It didn't seem like they were able to catch up to the back of the field before that green flag fell.
Oh, you think
so I'm hoping
that's what it is? They just missed the start there, huh?
Yeah, and that's why I was thinking they were going to throw another, just like have them run one more caution flag to get the field set. But
right.
I think over the run they should be able to catch back up. And
yeah, it's not like they're down to 2 cars. There's 4 of them back there.
Yep.
Hopefully they'll be able to stick it in. But you do see Mitchell Briggs has some of that 4th car syndrome back there. I've talked about that in the past. It's not easy, man. These things, the aero is extremely important in these cars, and if you are off the bumper of the car in front of you by an inch or 2, you can significantly lose some of the draft on them. So let's head back up here to the front, and again we still see Anthony Burrows is hanging out in first place. Eric Johnson just behind him in the 21 car. Got Joe Burchett in the 84 in 3rd position. In 4th position, Chris Stouffer in the 07. And then again, you see that Dr. Pepper 81 of Derek Pemberton sitting in the 5th position. There's some tight racing going on here, Martin. Half the pack is too wide from about 7th, 8th on back.
Yeah,
Typically those
Jordan
guys,
Gonzalez leading that one.
yeah, typically the guys towards the rear of the pack, you know, can't necessarily hold themselves quite as good if they didn't qualify well. But here at Daytona, it's kind of a different beast. A lot of the better drivers like to start in the back to kind of avoid the quote-unquote big one that always happens at Daytona. But they do call it the big one for a reason. That's because it collects just about everybody. So we'll have to wait and see when that time comes tonight.
Yeah, that is a strategy I saw last night. There were about 3 or 4 drivers that put down really slow qualifying laps so they could start in the back of the field. Ryan Hesgaard, Mark Vega, the winner of the race, started 20th. Ryan
And
Hesgaard,
I
who
think
finished second, started 24th. And so
Hesgaard's
both
the one who kind of
yep.
pushed him to that victory there,
Yep.
not he? Yeah. So I mean, it worked out for them. They avoided the early mishaps, which myself was collected in there in the early parts of the race. So that's a strategy we've seen work, and see if it works again here tonight. Hey, what do you think about Jordan Gonzalez lately? To me, he kind of comes off as a Kyle Larson type of racer. He's a very, very good driver, but he's patient and he doesn't race super aggressive like a Kyle Busch or a Brad Keselowski.
Yeah, he's a guy that's going to be there, and he's going to get a win this season. I have no doubt about that. We've got 36 races, and I think we got a little bit more talent, better talent spread up here in the Cup Series this year. So you're going to see a couple different winners. It's not just going to be the Anthony Burrows, Eric Wolf show, hopefully.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot more talent this year, and some of these guys, we see them getting better and better and better every single week. Dynasty Racing League's kind of becoming like a family. Everyone's getting to know each other. A lot of the guys will run multiple races in the different series that we do have, and it's awesome getting to watch some of these guys get better and better every week. For me to come out and pick, Derek Pemberton as the sole, who I believe is going to win the race, I can't say I would have done that, last year at this time. So, it's cool to watch these guys get better and better. Jordan is one of the ones I'd keep my eye on because he puts in the work. He has his own YouTube channel. He has his own racing team. It's a Christian-based racing team as far as I know, and he puts in the work every single week. He's one of those guys where, anytime he's not, working or spending time with the family, he's iRacing, so.
Yep. Well, the field looked like it's coming up on Brandon Dalton pretty soon. Brandon Dalton running in last place, all alone, so he's got to have a hard time here.
Yeah, there's only so much you can do. Hopefully, later in the race he can get the lucky dog and get that lap back. It looks like there was a mix-up, like I said, in qualifying early here. He started without anybody around him, and, when you don't have a draft partner at Daytona, there's no way you can keep up with the other cars, so. We'll see what happens when he goes out 3 wide, and that guy, the 44 and the 27 there behind Jordan, they're not going to be able to see him out there. So he's going to move to the high line, and depending on when those cars come across them on the outside line, they're going to have to, stay just inside of him. So
I've been seeing it during official races that guys have been going on the inside so they can escape kind of down into the apron if they need to. That lapped car.
Right.
It almost seems to be a better strategy than going high, because high you get pinched into the wall. That happened in the Grand National race with Taylor Butcher Benjamin.
Yeah,
where
that brought out a caution.
Kind of ran out of space
last night because he didn't have.
Ended up driving the wall.
Yeah, I think he tried to actually enter the stands there for a minute, didn't he?
Yeah, he was sideways, driving right upside the wall. And he had room, but it gets a little scary. You're not sure. You don't want to wreck the field as that lapped car. So it might be a strategy if you're in the tri-oval, this area, or on the backstretch to drive on that low line. Then you can always just hop out into the apron for a little while, let the field pass, and try to stay with them.
Right.
And then get that lucky dog. Only 4 guys out there on the second line, though, so he might stay out.
They'll all see him. And again, the car's
he's staying up high
in the corner, so we'll see if he can hold himself off that wall and let these guys around peacefully. You see a couple of those cars drop to the inside. Oh, no, they didn't. They just moved a little bit back, made themselves a little gap just to make things as safe as possible here. Brandon Dalton doing a very good job of staying on that high line out of everybody's way. We still have nothing but green flag action here. We're on lap 17 of 100. We've seen a lot of this at Daytona, from this league particularly, Martin. I think this was one of the races last season. The entire Daytona race in the Cup Series last season went green. Last night we had a clean 30-plus laps of, or right at 30 laps of clean green flag racing, and the caution wasn't anything major. It wasn't the big one. That didn't come until the very end of the race, so it's surprising. You know, normally at these plate tracks, you have guys get a little bit antsy. They get into the cars, in front of them, and they try to make moves and push guys around the track, and it doesn't work when you're doing 200 miles an hour. So, I'm surprised we haven't seen very much of that here.
Yeah, we went green all the way at the night race at Daytona. I think the first race ever for Dynasty Racing League last season at Daytona. I think we did have a few cautions that one, but once we got a feel for each other, it went green the whole way for the night race later in the season. And it is surprising because we have a lot of new drivers in here, actually, like Joe Burchett, Eric Johnson. Through the field, there's sprinkled through there some rookies to Dynasty Racing League, and a few of them have a little bit of experience in the Winter Series, but otherwise they're new drivers, especially in the Cup cars, to get to know their style, get to know how aggressive they are. But so far, so good. We've had some pretty clean races. Of course, you're going to have wrecks. You're going to have people run into each other. That's racing.
If we go and look here, on board here with Eric Johnson. He's a 52.47 I rating. This says he started in third position. He actually started in second. He took second position in qualifying last week, so it didn't matter how he did in his dual race. He's already shown what he can do so far this season, done a very good job at it. Anthony Burrows, we all know how good he can be. And here we got a line going on the outside, Martin.
Trying to make a move. Joe Burchett, Jordan Gonzalez, and Connor Lane on the outside trying to make that work. And it pushed Joe Burchett into second place and making a move for first. He might have a nose for first right now. Yep, but going in the corner, he might lose something.
I think Jordan has wanted to do this the entire race. Every chance he's gotten, he's dipped out there and tried to make that second line work. So, maybe he prefers to run on the outside. And oh, no, as he turns, Burchett just a little bit. Like I said, guys, there's a lot of things that can happen really, really fast here at Daytona. We're going to go back and ride along. Let's see here. We're going to go right along here with... number 9.
It looks like there was a little bit of a blinking issue. Joe Burchett was starting to blink on that run and blinked out, and as he came back, he was sideways already, so...
Yeah, it did look like a brief blink there.
James Pandolf caught up in that.
We see him coming down here.
Dalton got caught up in that.
So here's the number 9 of Jordan Gonzalez, right on the tail of Burchett in the 84. Oh, and he did blink just briefly. It looked like Jordan kind of started to turn him before the blink happened. Then he briefly blinked out, and then he just completely went sideways. So
yeah, I'm sure that would have happened either way, maybe. So
yeah, it looked like he was starting to go sideways before the blink even occurred. But again, that's what happens. He got the tiniest little push. They weren't quite out of the corner, so he still had that wheel turned a bit, and there's nothing you can really do. I mean, when you have the wheel turned, even the slightest, at those type of speeds, that stuff's going to happen. So, see, we now see down pit road. Let's go back to live action here.
We actually had a little bit of a wreck with Chris Stouffer was checking up, and Derek Pemberton slammed into him. That was right up at the front end. Jordan Gonzalez gets hit again.
Did that happen on pit road?
No, that happened as they were slowing down for the pace car.
Oh, no.
That's a mess right there.
See the exit to pit road. It looks like maybe Anthony Burrows got beat off pit road there by Daniel Hallis. What an awesome move by Daniel Hallis. I don't know if he just took less tires or what, but he does get beat off pit road. All the cars file out of pit road here.
Yeah, he goes from 12th to 1st. Yeah, Chris Stouffer's a little upset about getting slammed by Derek Pemberton. Pemberton didn't realize they were slowing down. Not sure why. Because you can clear the pace cars on the track. You should be slowing up.
You know, a lot of the guys get all tangled up and trying to get back around to the pace car, and then by the time the pace car's there, and they don't really notice it, especially the guys that are towards the front. So hopefully Jordan doesn't have a terrible amount of damage. He has currently been in the pits for over 60 seconds already. Hopefully he can get back out and doesn't have a ton of aero damage and can actually race this race. Same thing with Derek Pemberton. It looks like he spent about 76 seconds in the pits right now in the Toyota. That's pretty unfortunate for those guys. But like I said, guys, anything can happen at Daytona. Those were a couple of the top guys that we've been talking about all race, and people we thought that were going to do very well here tonight. One of our fresh, DRL rookies, and Joe Burchett. He was kind of starting to make a name for himself there. It looks like he just pulls back out on the track. But yeah, it stinks. That's the kind of stuff that can happen at tracks like this and Talladega and the other plate tracks. I'm going to follow these guys around for a lap or two of pace action, Martin. I'm going to take a quick break. I'll be back in just a minute. Feel free to commentate for the folks. I'm currently following just in TV mode. I'm just following Daniel Hallis right now, so you'll see all the action from there.
Yeah, I'm looking at Chris Stouffer. Chris Stouffer's fallen from 3rd. He was running 3rd. At least after that yellow flag came out, has fallen all the way back to 23rd as a result of that run-in with Derek Pemberton. So let's set the field as it is right now. Daniel Hallis now in the lead. Anthony Burrows, Adam Chapman, Eric Johnson, Blake Griffith, Charlie Ryan, Wade Hustad, Aaron M. James, Chad Presnall, and Getty Buckner are the top 10. Jordan Gonzalez is now a lap down, all the way back in 28th place. Derek Pemberton back in 29th, a lap down. Chris Stouffer still on the lead lap, but in 23rd. Derek Pemberton's actually going into the pits for some more work after rear-ending Chris Stouffer on that pace lap as the caution came out. Connor Lane's still in pit lane, getting work done on his car.
Looks like we're about to head back to green flag action here at Daytona. I wish we would have gotten an interview there, guys. Again, sorry, I'm a little under the weather. Family's got the flu this week, so broadcast might not be of the quality that I would have wanted, but I can do with what we have. And Pace car pulls
green
off
flag.
down pit road and take the
Daniel
lead.
House, nice jump.
Beautiful jump by Daniel House. It kind of makes you wonder, though, how good is that really here at a plate track? Saw him move back by taking that outside line last week. He lost a lot of positions early in the race by one of those early jumps like that.
Yeah,
But
and Adam Chapman now in second. He's going to block a little bit. Anthony Burrows trying to get up on the outside to make a move on Daniel Hallis.
once again, Brandon Dalton, the field approaches. Is that Brandon Dalton there in front of him? Adam Chapman in 83 makes the clean pass on Daniel Hallis.
Yeah, they're coming up on Connor Lane. Connor Lane was in the pits getting some work done. He got caught up in that wreck.
Yeah, he spent over 300 seconds in the pits there. No way he has enough repairs to his car to be able to maintain, pace speed here, but Daniel Hollis does get back down to that inside line, stays there. He's now followed up right behind followed up from behind by Blake Griffith. He's kind of been a mainstay in the top 5 as of late, hasn't he, Martin?
Yes, sir. Yeah, the guys you see up here, these are guys who are going to be competing. I mean, Adam Chapman and Derek Pemberton are in their first season. They did the broadcast last year for the Cup Series, so now they're going to be actually on the track this year. So that's why you see the rookie tags next to their names when we pull up their driver info and stuff. But yeah, I mean, those guys, Daniel Hallis has made a name for himself, becoming a guy. And then we got Wade Hustad and, again, Eric Johnson, some new drivers who are going to be top 10 guys.
You can kind of see who those guys are, as the season goes on. We'll be able to tell, who's going to be running up front and who isn't, over time. But there are tracks throughout the season that some drivers are just flat out going to be better at. So last season there were, a particular set of drivers who weren't necessarily the best driver. They were great drivers, don't get me wrong, but they weren't the best driver on the track every week at the 1.5 miles. But then it came down to a road course, and they were up front every single time. So everybody's got their strong suit.
Yeah, we are missing a few drivers who didn't come out for the Daytona. Garrett Maines, new young guy coming in. Eric Wolf. Tommy Bordeaux, I think, will be coming back in for the Cup Series. He did run the Grand National yesterday. Tommy Bordeaux is the road course king of Dynasty Racing League at this point. So we're going to see if someone can knock him off from that perch.
Oh, he was great at Watkins Glen last year. An absolute pleasure to watch him run around Watkins Glen. But Eric Wolf was also very good at Watkins last year. So, and Sonoma, for that matter. Also, they're adding, later in the season, we're actually going to see, just like in real NASCAR, they're adding the new Roval for Charlotte. So that's going to be exciting. As we got a little wiggle there, it looks like Blake Griffith might have got just barely into the back of Adam Chapman. It looks like he almost lost control of his car, but he kept it straight, and they're still cruising. So again, a lot of these guys, I think they're just biding their time. You see everyone in a single file line here, speeding around Daytona. They're just waiting for some laps to pass here, keeping their cars clean. See the 72 of Daniel Hallis is kind of blinking in and out there, and need to be very careful. The admins at Dynasty Racing League do a very good job of trying to make sure everything's fair for everyone. They're still learning. They're still a young league. They've been around about a year now. 3 series. We did Cup Series last year. We did a Pro Series, and then we did a Winter Truck Series. But even as of last night, there was a brand new rule made for Dynasty Racing League for things like blinking. I know there can be some netcode issues, and we're learning it as an admin team and trying to make things better for these drivers every week.
Well, we have our first driver ducking out. Connor Lane has pulled off the track, and that will be the end of his day.
Yeah, he was the one who had the 300 seconds of repairs there after that first wreck. That's an unfortunate end to the day there, but again, that's Daytona for you. Going back, there's some awesome paint schemes here tonight, huh, Martin? See, Daniel Hallis is rocking the Northeast Ohio Ghostbusters paint scheme there in the number 72 car. Just behind him, the number 21 of Eric Johnson. Awesome little gray and blue scheme he has with the teal wheels going there.
Trying to see
Daniel
what
Hallis
he's
again is
running
bouncing
there.
Towards the outside wall.
Yeah, Eric Johnson's got the rock star experience. Yeah, Daniel Hallis is pulling off because of the blinking.
So that is the new rule that they officially made last night after last night's issues in DRL. You'll be warned once or twice. Then you'll be asked to move to the back and race from the back until the issue clears up. If you continue to race and the issue is not cleared up, you will be asked to park your car. So it looks like that's what Daniel Hallis did. He moved off the track, headed towards the rear, and hopefully he can get that fixed. Stinks for him after being on that restart, coming off of pit road in the first position there. Things are going to happen with connections, stuff we can't always control.
Yeah, it seems like something I always get when I'm driving an official race and I'm running third or second. Then that's when all the blinking decides to happen.
As we know, the starting positions are a little bit messed up here. He probably started 1 or 2 positions ahead of this, but Adam Chapman is our current leader. Shows here he started in 8th. He has an I rating of 1688. He is a DRL rookie, like Martin explained earlier. He was broadcasting our Cup Series last season. Kind of cool to see him out here running with some of these guys he talks so much about. You see him in his TRN paint scheme, Trackside Racing Network. I'm sure he's having a blast out there leading the pack, huh?
Yeah, nerves are probably frayed at this point.
Guy right behind him again, Blake Griffith. He's always up there in the top of these races. He has a 2833 I rating. He started in 17th, so he's moved himself a significant amount through the field here to be sitting in the second position right now. He's got the CCR Racing paint scheme. I know that's his team. Uh-oh, and we have a caution flag out. I didn't see the wreck, Martin.
Well, it's got Jordan Gonzalez, Daniel Hallis, and Brandon Dalton. So let's see what happened.
And back to Gonzalez's
Yeah,
car.
we got a pack of Brandon Dalton, Daniel Hallis, Jordan Gonzalez, and John Gesko. Yeah, it might have been a blinking issue again. No, John Gesko got into the back of Brandon Dalton, turned him, and that hit Daniel Hallis and Jordan Gonzalez on the outside lane running. Just a pack of 4 driving around the track, and John Gesko a little too close and bumped him.
We have the 08 of John Gesko here. Oh, he gets squirrely. Not good. John Gesko moves just a little bit. The car in front of him is that Brandon Dalton swerved just a hair, and then John Gesko tried to swerve with him, and it was 1 second too late by that point. By the time he ran into the back of Brandon Dalton trying to make that push, sent him straight sideways. Let's look at it one more time from his in-car cam. Here he is on the back of Brandon Dalton in the 85. Right in front of him, you see Daniel Hallis on the outside, the guy who was asked to drop to the back because of the spiking issues. So the 85 moves high, the 08 tries to go under him, and then the 85 pulls back down, and he tries to get on his bumper, and he just didn't hit him in the right way, that's all. That's an unfortunate end to all of those guys' races. Daniel Hallis was just running up there in the top position. Saw what happened to Dallas under that last caution.
We just had a collision on pit road between Mark Vega and Dustin Musial. Musial coming out of his pits, Vega trying to go in, and they collided. So still some trouble in pit lane. Mark Vega's been having trouble with his screen, actually, so he's been kind of having some technical issues on his end, and that's been causing him to get a little squirrely on the track. It looks like John Gesko has also bowed out of the
What was
race.
it that hit Mark Vega?
Dustin Musial.
See if we can see that.
The 22.
Let me view that or not. We're gonna go back and see if we can see what happened here. Dustin Musial. He comes down pit road. We'll follow him in the chase cam. Dustin Musial is headed into his pit. He gets into his pit just fine. Is this happening when he comes out of his pit, Martin?
Yeah, so when he comes out, it might have been a little bit of netcode. Yeah, again, the pit lanes here are not completely contact, but there is a little bit of a gray zone, like where contact can happen, where it doesn't happen in iRacing. So
Right,
some drivers are not completely clear when that's going to happen, and gets a little
and
messy
it does
sometimes.
look like a little bit of netcode. So the 78 there kind of rolls through him of Mark Vega, and it allows his car to roll through, but it gives both of them some points. Hopefully it didn't do damage to their cars. Hopefully it wasn't just one-sided to where Mark Vega got some damage, but Dustin Musial didn't, huh? Back live here. Looks like Mark Vega has some front right crinkle there on the Dr. Pepper 78, but that's not where he took the damage, if he took any. In his front left, wouldn't it? Must be damage from the earlier incident.
Yeah. Do you want to bring in Jordan Gonzalez, talk to him about getting caught up in 2 wrecks so far?
Yeah, go ahead and bring Jordan in. We'll see what his perspective is after that unfortunate set of events.
Hello, gentlemen.
Hey, Jordan, how are you tonight?
Well, I was good until I turned the guy. I was a John Burgett, and I was good until then. That outside line, man, it was really exciting once the tires started wearing out.
Yeah, we saw you were trying to run that outside line pretty regularly from the beginning of the race forward. It looked like you were making it work finally. I mentioned something to Martin early in the broadcast about if these guys would just run that middle line the whole race, they might have enough rubber built up and be able to make something of it at the end of the race. So just as you were getting something going, was that a netcode issue or what happened there?
Well, he blinked out on my screen. I don't know if I touched him before he blinked out, but next thing I know, I see him sideways and I'm inside of his car. So I don't know if I just didn't give him enough room or what, but definitely my fault. So
Yeah, what we saw on the broadcast up here, it looked like you gave him a nudge just before he blinked out, and then he blinked out, and by the time he was back in, he was already going sideways. So, and then of course this event that just happened, you get collected. The 08 was trying to stick on the bumper of Brandon Dalton. I don't know exactly what happened there, but he didn't hit him square and kind of ruined the race for all 4 of you.
yeah, that's too bad. I feel bad for Daniel Hallis because he was only back there because of the blinking issue, but hopefully he can recover somehow. He's still one position ahead of me, so.
I wish you the best of luck for the rest of the night, man. Sorry things had to kind of go that way, but I'm sure we'll see you back next week.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, buddy. And if you want to move Jordan back to the proper channel.
All right, so we're going to be coming to green pretty soon here.
We got some new guys running up here towards the front. Getty Buckner makes his way up to 3rd position. You got David Wright in 2nd position. Blake Griffith now holds 1st. And the 83 of Adam Chapman is in 4th there on the outside line.
You got Getty Buckner's paint scheme. I know last week he was a little upset that his paint scheme didn't show up.
I see a black and pink paint scheme. Getty Buckner.
Yeah, it's a race for a cure.
Awesome. I don't think I had my trading paints updated last week. That was my fault. I don't blame him for being upset with me. So, or like I said, there's some awesome paint schemes out here tonight. Go back to green flag racing.
Yeah, he's going to get 2nd place. That outside line falling back behind David Wright. As you have Griffith, Buckner, and I believe Chapman, right?
Griffith, Buckner, and Hustad there on the inside line.
Yep.
Adam Chapman is following the
Chapman's on the out.
David Wright on the outside line.
Then Chad Presnall and Anthony Burrows behind them.
Yeah, still, I don't know. It seems like that inside line's the only way to go, Martin. These guys can't get enough people to follow them, or I don't know how Jordan and was it earlier that were making that outside line work. I don't know how they did it, honestly.
Yeah, considering that Jordan was way back when they passed up Brandon Dalton there, the lap car, he was way back, probably 16th place, and then next thing you know it, him and Joe Burchett were making a move for the lead.
Yeah, I mean, he charged his way all the way forward on the outside, I'm pretty sure. So it's not like he ducked in and out and made his little moves one car at a time. He stuck that outside line and was finally making it work, and it seems like no one else can do so. So maybe Jordan was the guy to make that happen, and now we're not going to get to see it tonight. But I'm sure last 10 laps, there's going to be some moves to the outside, and it's going to be exciting to watch.
Well, David Wright's still out on the outside, and he's fallen back to 10th place now after starting that restart second.
Yeah, and it makes you wonder what the 32 of Wade Hudstad's thinking here as he moves to the outside, followed by Chad Presnall on the 55. Anthony Burrows moves down to take that position away on the inside, and once again, unless there's some other cars that join him out there, I think they're going to suffer the same fate that David Wright just suffered. And you see again the inside line moves past them pretty quickly.
Yeah, Presnall trying to give Hustad a push there, but to no avail.
And after seeing the wrecks that have taken place here tonight, both of them seem to be from people wanting to push. The draft package in these cars isn't really designed for actually physically hitting the bumper of the car in front of you. You're supposed to get right on the bumper, but not actually make collision with them. Makes you wonder if pushing is the right thing to try to do. These guys are just cruising again here, Martin. We've only had one caution here tonight, as we've seen so far.
Two cautions. Both with Jordan Gonzalez. We had two so far.
Oh, that's right. That second one was, yeah. So, again, most of what we've seen from the DRL, it's very clean. You get a ton of green flag laps out of these guys, and then, kind of most of the time towards the end of the race, cautions breed cautions. So we're going to see how long these guys can stick it in there. I think fuel and tires is going to have a big play here, too, because unless we get another caution, these guys only have one pit left to go. So what do you think they're going to run? Should they run a lap 60? Should they run a lap 65 or 70 before they try to go into the pits, or should they push it even further than that?
Well, my strategy usually is to go when the leader goes, because if you don't go when he goes, then and it goes green, you're going to be putting yourself at the back of the pack. But Daytona is one where the tires aren't as big a deal.
Right.
So, yeah, it's kind of a toss-up. I mean, maybe you just kind of push it and hope for that yellow flag to come out. And then you get to go in without losing time.
Last week we saw James Lorello in the shootout. He went in a lap later than the leaders and somehow came out right in front of a mini pack of 3 cars and fit himself in there and ended up going on to win the race. So I'm sure there's a lot of different things going on in these guys' minds as far as when they're going to pit and whether they're going to take all 4 tires or just 2 and whether they want a full tank of fuel or not. So we'll see what happens with the cautions and see if any of that comes into play here.
Well, you want to make sure you have a buddy when you go in the pits. Otherwise, you're going to be driving around the track with all alone going 10, 15 miles per hour slower than the pack.
Yeah, we know that's no good. These guys are currently running around 200 miles an hour on the front and back stretch. If you're all by yourself out there, I think qualifying speed, you're at about 189.5. So,
yeah,
definitely
on a good
can't
run.
keep on a great run. So you definitely can't keep up with the pack if you're all alone. Martin, you want to pull Blake Griffith in for a minute and see how things are looking for him out there in the front? Get a quick little interview with Blake.
Yeah, let me just find him here.
Hey, Blake Griffith, you got a copy, my friend?
Yeah, man. How's it going?
Hey, man, you're cruising up there in first position. I know you're one of the guys who doesn't mind being interviewed mid-race as we actually go to a caution.
Got a yellow
here.
flag.
What's it like out there, man?
Just actually had a caution here. It's
He's
not bad,
banned off.
man. Everybody's been pretty patient. Nobody's really forcing any issues right now. I think everybody realizes it's a long race, so far it's going good. I used a little bit of pit strategy. Didn't take any tires to get up here in the lead. I started way back, so I was really nervous starting back there, hoping I didn't get in a wreck, but everything's worked out so far. Sitting in the lead right now. Hopefully I can keep it that way.
Awesome, man. Well, good luck to you. We just wanted to pull you in briefly and see what it looked like there from the front of the pack. It looks like everyone's staying single file and being patient. So hopefully we'll be interviewing you after the race, man.
Yeah, man. Hope so. Appreciate it.
Yeah, so that was James Pandolf got hooked by Clay Phillips.
I just caught
hard into the wall.
The brief end of the wreck there. Go back and see if I can see that again, Martin.
Yep, just hooked him. The 6 car just hooked the 74 and hard into the wall, James Pandolf.
Yeah, so it looks like the 6 is cruising on his bumper. The 35 was on the outside. 74 Pandolf looks like it has a little bit of damage. Is the 6 damaged as well before this? Pandolf does have a crinkled nose. Not sure if he was damaged before this occurred or not. Oh, and the 6 of Clay Phillips just hits him in the back right, spins him right into the wall. Oh, that's an unfortunate ending to the night for James Pandolf. James Pandolf, owner of the league, got Dynasty Racing League all started last year. That stinks for him, Martin.
Yeah, but I think he's going to be racing tomorrow night as well for the trucks, so he's got some more racing to do at Daytona.
Yeah, he's not all done here, that's for sure.
I think he's running for points in the Grand National, which we did last night. So this is just for fun, but you do wanna finish well at Daytona or any race you do. In fact, if you win, even if you're not going for points, winning's always bragging rights.
Looks like did we just have some cars stay out, Martin? Or did we have some cars beat Blake off of pit road?
Let's take a look. Well, Blake, Getty Buckner, Anthony Burrows, they all went into the pits. Adam Chapman, Wade Hustad.
Maybe my standings are currently messed up. It's now showing Mike Springer in second position with Charlie Ryan in first.
Charlie Ryan did stay out, and so did Mike Springer. So that's why they're still up there. And then Mark Vega stayed out as well, pulling into third, I believe.
So we haven't seen a whole lot. How about Adam Chapman? Did he just beat Blake off a pit road? That must have been what it was, huh?
Yeah, Chapman went in with Blake, so if he's ahead of him, he beat him off the road. Yep. So we got Charlie Ryan in first, Mike Springer second, Vega third. Then behind them we have Brandon Dalton. He will have to drop to the back of the field because he is 4 laps down and won't get that lucky dog. You have Adam Chapman and Blake Griffith, your top 5. Chris Stouffer is back up in 6th place after that little run-in during the first yellow flag caution laps.
It's nice to see him work his way back up through the field.
Then Chad Presnall, David Wellborn in 8th, Wade Hustad 9th, Joe Burchett, guy that got wrecked in first place at the beginning of the race, early on in the race. He's back in 10th position, just ahead of Anthony Burrows. So, as you can see, I mean, you can if your car doesn't have a ton of damage, you can get back into this thing. It's a long race. We're halfway through, just about halfway through.
Yeah, lap 49 out of 100 here in the DRL Fastlane Cup Series Daytona 250. Current leader Charlie Ryan, followed by Mike Springer. Both of them stayed out. Mark Vega in the 78 Dr. Pepper Toyota. He stayed out as well. Adam Chapman just edged Blake Griffith off of pit road to take 4th position. So we'll see how that plays out for those top 3 drivers. Maybe they're just trying to fit themselves in up front and hope for another caution. Because I'll tell you right now, if they don't get another caution within the next 20 laps or so, Martin, they're going to need to come in for some fuel. I think we've already ran, what, a good 10 or 15 since the last. These cars get too wide behind the pace car here, coming down the backstretch. And we'll get ready to go green. See the 78 there, Mark Vega. He does still have that crinkle in the right front of his car. I think all these cars have taken a few scrapes and bruises. The 16 there of Charlie Ryan looks very, very clean. But all these cars have a little bit of damage on them. I wonder how that's going to affect his aero here, Martin.
Yeah, and that's what led to the last yellow flag at the Grand National race last night, is that a lot of the guys had damage, and some guys behind them didn't. And obviously, if you don't have as much damage, you're going to have a little bit more speed in the draft. And then you have to be careful. You have to find the opening. You can't just squeeze in there, make it 3-4 wide going into a turn, because, especially on iRacing, good things do not always happen.
Yeah, on these restarts, we're only talking about 1 mile or 2 per hour, but once they get on the backstretch and these cars get up close to that 200-mile-an-hour mark, you could possibly be going 5, 6, 7, 8 miles an hour faster than the car that's right in front of you as you suck up to him, just because he has aero damage and you don't. So either you have to make the move to the outside when it makes sense, or you just have to let off the gas and make sure you don't hit him in the rear, because we've already seen tonight what happens when you do that. As we go back green, the 16 of Charlie Ryan gets out to a quick start.
And Mike Springer will pull into line in front of Mark Vega.
Just barely. Mark Vega almost got into the rear of his car there, but sucks right up to him. And once again, we're back to this one line.
And Chris Stouffer is all alone on the outside.
Yeah, it looks like he's going to suffer the same fate that we've seen many of the other drivers suffer already tonight without
Chapman bounced
help.
out. Chapman bounced out to help him or something. I think he's just really on the rear bumper of Vega. Vega's got damage, so that's going to be slowing him down a little bit. So Chapman pulled up to the outside. Yeah, you can see Griffith sucking right up to him.
Yeah, well, it makes you wonder where are these guys going to go.
So maybe Vega's got to move over and let these guys go by, because he's going to really bottle things up.
Yeah, it looks like he's slowing down the pack a little bit, and those 2 guys in the front are just 2. There's not more cars than that. So either we need to see an outside line develop here and get around the 78 of Mark Vega, or if he pulls out of that inside line at all, he's going all the way to the back.
Yeah, well, Chapman, you can see Chapman falling like a rock right now. He pulled out because he was right on Vega's bumper and just could not let off enough speed. So he's going to slide into line behind Anthony Burrows.
Yeah, it takes a lot of patience when you run up on one of those cars. You have to let off just enough, but you don't want to let off too much and give room for the guy outside to jump down in line. It can be tough, man. And the adjustment that you make,
night, yeah.
The adjustment you
Honestly,
make when you're doing 200 miles an hour, it takes a second for that adjustment to actually come to fruition. So you turn the wheel a little to the left at this speed, it takes a second to adjust over there. So you can't just follow what you're seeing in front of you. You kind of have to know what he's doing before he does it.
Yep. So Charlie Ryan, Mike Springer, and Mark A. Vega, top 3. Vega won the Grand National race last night. Maybe he's trying to go for a sweep this weekend. Well, he's not running the trucks. He's not running the trucks, but he'll get these if he can. He's going to try to get these 2 races he is running.
Yeah, Mark Vega, big participant here at Dynasty. He's been here for almost every race we've had. I think he's actually going to do race control for us tomorrow in the truck series. So thank you very much to him for that. And then I just want to do a couple shout outs too, just to Dynasty Racing League as a whole. Thank you to everybody who makes this all work every week. James Bandoff, I mentioned earlier in the 74 here tonight. He's the owner of the league. Martin Wenzel, thank you, sir, for all your work you do on the graphics and things like that. Jordan Gonzalez, the number 9 car we saw go out under unfortunate circumstances earlier. He puts all this stuff together in for the broadcast, and allows me to post up all these standings and show you guys what lap it is and who the leaders are and all of that stuff. Tater Bowman for getting all this off the ground last season, for sponsoring the league. I'll pull credits all up at the end of this, and all the guys that came out and help out with broadcasting. We got David Wellborn and Chris James on Monday nights. Daniel Hallis is going to be doing the broadcasting on Wednesday nights. He'll be here live tomorrow from Dynasty Racing League TV. And then last but not least, the guys who actually come out and race this thing every week. If it wasn't for the drivers, Dynasty Racing League wouldn't exist, so huge thanks to them. I know I'm an admin in the league, and I'll go over it tomorrow before the truck race starts as the admin for that series. We tell the guys before every single race it's their league. Their opinions matter, so let us know how we can improve each and every week. And like I said earlier, we're still learning. We made adjustments to the rules after last night's race, and we're almost a year into this already. So thanks to everybody who tuned in tonight.
I'm just watching right now, Jordan Gonzalez and Brandon Dalton go flying past James Pandoff. Looks like Gonzalez and Pandoff are running modifieds right now. No front ends on their cars.
Yeah, both of them are missing the front end. I don't know why Brandon Dalton is as slow as he is, but after the last incident, I don't know if I'd be wanting to run right on his bumper like Jordan is.
Well, considering that here you got the 9 and the 74 have been involved in, well, the 9 was involved in the first 2 incidents, and the 74 involved in the 3rd one today, so Brandon Dalton has been getting caught up in these incidents. I don't know if I want to be racing around them, though, right?
Right. So, I mean, can you tell me, Mark, why are these guys still on the track? If they're so many laps down and their cars aren't performing, why even come back out there?
I believe we get bonus points for completing the race. Well, I know you get bonus points for staying around. I don't know what you get for driving around. I guess they just want to keep pushing it. Jordan Gonzalez is actually only a lap down. Pandoff is on the end of the lead lap. And Brandon Dalton is actually the one who's 4 laps down.
Okay, so they're not actually hurting that bad. So what I'm assuming, yes, you do get some bonus points for sticking around. Just finishing the race, you should be here at least attempting to run some laps in your car. But also, who knows? There's still 40 laps to go. If these guys are only a couple laps down and a major wreck happens, say the big one comes out and next lap the big one occurs and 3 or 4 cars are completely incapacitated, they can gain 3 or 4 positions just by continuing to run some laps around the track.
Well, if you're watching it right here, I mean, Gonzalez is a lap down, so he's working for that lucky dog. Derek Pemberton is only 1 position in front of James Pandoff, and Pandoff has a run here, could gain a position. So that's why they're still out there. Even though he's got a heavily damaged car, he can still gain a few positions.
Right, they might not have to stick with the
pack, on the lead lap.
Every point matters, right? Martin, you're going to have to forgive me again. I'm going to go to a broadcast view and take a quick break here. I will be back in just a minute. I'm following along with our leaders. Don't worry, guys. I'm going to turn the stream over here to Martin. I'm sure he'll give you all of the awesome commentating that you've been looking for all night.
Yep, let's find the leader. Charlie Ryan on the lead. Still Mike Springer, Mark Vega. Nothing's changed up front. Blake Griffith, Chad Presnall. They are just single file like a snake down the track. And we have a caution. Let's find where that is. Sounds like netcode. And that's going to be Derek Pemberton and Brandon Dalton. Ryan's going to have to pick up this replay for you guys. But that was that group of cars we were looking at with Jordan Gonzalez, Brandon Dalton, James Pandoff, and they were trying to pass Derek Pemberton. And I'm taking a look at the replay. Ryan will bring the replay up when he gets back.
Did it happen again, Martin?
Yeah, it's Derek Pemberton got into the rear end of Brandon Dalton, and that was right around Jordan Gonzalez and James Pandoff. So that pack we were looking at a little bit earlier. Yep,
So
just
these
nudged
guys
him,
just
threw him
can't
into the
stay
wall.
out of it.
Yeah, so now Brandon Dalton joins the Jordan Gonzalez and James Pandoff with having no front end on his car.
Yeah. So now we have 3 cars missing their front. It doesn't look like Jordan Gonzalez and James took any
Yeah, they
damage
made it
there.
out.
Derek
Yeah,
just
they avoided it.
Derek sent Dalton directly into the wall. I'm sure Derek received a little bit of damage there himself. Brandon Dalton seems to be a wreck magnet tonight, huh?
Yeah, I think he's been caught up in at least 3 of these wrecks, but that's just what's going to happen. Sounds like he is going to be pulling off the track, and that's going to be it for the day. So that'll be our 3rd driver down. So he will finish in 29th. We have Connor Lane in 31st currently, 34 laps down. He's out of the race. John Gesko, 25 laps down and 30th out of the race, and Brandon Dalton will join them. Jordan Gonzalez, I believe, will get the lucky dog and get back on the lead lap.
I was looking there at the pit entry. A ton of cars come down pit road. It looks like Anthony Burrows is the first to race off, followed closely by... I'm going to see who that was just now. Like the 84 of Joe Burchett is back up there, and then Eric Johnson in the 21, David Wellborn in the 96, and Charlie Ryan in the 16.
Oh, and Derek Pemberton is also pulled off the track, and so Jordan Gonzalez will pull into 27th place. There'll be 27 cars on the lead lap. All the cars running the race will still be on the lead lap. There will be no lapped cars after this green flag comes back out.
So who received the lucky dog here?
Should be Jordan Gonzalez. He was a lap down. No one else went a lap down. I mean, Derek Pemberton
was
will.
on the end of the lead lap, right?
Yes, he was. So
He'll be the last car.
and
in
Derek
the field.
Pemberton is pulled off. Yep.
So who did we have stay out there? I think first through 4th stayed out. So Blake Griffith, Jihad Presnall, Wade Hustad, and John Mullins all stayed out on the track.
Yeah, it's going to look like, Charlie Ryan probably went in. Mark Vega probably went in for a pit.
Yeah, so Anthony
Those guys
Burrows,
that were up
I was
there.
watching
Yep.
the pit exit there. Anthony Burrows was the first one off pit road. Just behind him was Joe Burchett, then Eric Johnson, and David Wellborn. So the first 4 cars in our field here are the 4 that stayed out. So
Well, they had gone. Yeah, they had gone in earlier when those other guys stayed out. So kind of staggering our pit stops now. Going to get a little shuffling in the field.
I'm going to go ahead. Let's see if we can find him. I'm looking for Derek Pemberton. He is currently muted, so...
Let's see.
Hey, Derek, you got
You
a
can call
copy?
him.
Yeah, I think he currently has his microphone muted.
Alrighty, there we go. Sorry about that, guys.
Hey, Derek, we just wanted to get a little insight from you. What happened there, man? Did you move Dalton on purpose, or did that kind of just... He wiggled a little in front of you?
It's been that kind of night for me, I guess. Having problems early, not being able to have communication where the pace car was to slow down to that incident right there. So, yeah, I wasn't trying to turn. I was actually trying to draft with them. I finally got somebody around me after running around for about the last 30 laps doing absolutely nothing. So it felt kind of nice to be around people, and he kind of moved a little bit, and I tried to keep the car straight, and I turned down just a little bit. I guess it wasn't just enough to clip him.
Yeah, so did you take too much damage on your car there? Are you done for the night?
No, the car's fine. I mean, I didn't even get a car contact or anything. I'm just, I've had a pretty bad night, of course, with running into somebody early in the race. That already put me in a bad situation. It just got worse as the night went on. So I just got to help out my teammates here and try to see if we can still get a overtake 1-2 finish here.
Yeah, it's an unfortunate end to your first race of the season. But you were my pick to win it tonight, man. So yeah, that's unfortunate, especially after the dual race you had last week. But we wish you the best, and hopefully we'll see you back next week at Atlanta.
Oh, for sure. I plan on coming back and making a full run for this championship this year.
Oh yeah. I told all these guys earlier how important every little point is here and why those cars of James Pandoff and Jordan Gonzalez were still on the track. So,
Yeah.
well, thank you, sir. You have a good night.
All right. Y'all too, guys.
Yeah, he was mentioning how he got into the back of someone earlier in the race during the pace lap. That was Christopher. Didn't slow up for the pace car, and so yeah, probably just a frustrating night for him. He decided I'll just pull the car off and focus on helping my teammates. I believe his
wish good on
teammates
him.
Adam Chapman and Joe Burchett. So both those guys overtake Motorsports.
Yeah, and both of them have been running up front pretty much all night. We got the 84 there of Joe Burchetti. Currently running in the, what is he, 6th position?
Yeah, all the way back.
Chapman.
All the way back after getting turned by Jordan Gonzalez there on that little neck code early in the race, that first yellow flag. So
Yeah, and Adam Chapman's currently
anything
sitting
can happen.
26, but we know how good he can be, how good he was earlier tonight. So I fully expect him to make a full recovery and move his way through this field.
Yeah, the field just shuffles up. I mean, when you get these pit stops, they're going to shuffle around. And
the pace car, what are we? Are we on the backstretch here? I think the pace car's about to pull off, and we're going to go back to green flag racing, Mark. There we go. Blake Griffith gets the early jump down inside. The 55 moves right down in the inside lane. Perfect timing by the 55 of Chad Presnov there. And we're going to see this time. John Mullins is on that outside line. We'll see if he can push it up there and actually make this outside line work. We're 64 out of 100 into this race. They got to do it at some point, Martin. The question is now the time, or are they going to continue to run around single file?
I got quite a few cars up there. I mean, but it is just the restart. People haven't gotten down into that single file yet. And 72's blinking a little bit again.
Oh, and a huge wreck. Once again, collects the 84. That is not good. I saw the 84 of Joe Burchett get turned there. I'm going to go back and watch that one more time.
I hear David Wellborn claiming for that one. Let's see.
David Wellborn is in the 96. He's the one just behind the 84. I've currently got the replay paused. Go to
trying to find
David
a good
Wellborn.
view here. Yeah, he turns the 12. He turns Mike Springer, and that starts the whole thing. Just hooked Mike Springer. Springer gets up into 84.
Let's see what it is. The 96 is cruising along in the outside line. Looks like he weaves a little bit down to Mike Springer. Nothing too serious. Oh, and then he swerves hard down into Mike Springer. Mike Springer gets in the back of the 84.
That
collects
a
lot
Mark
of cars.
Vega.
That collects a lot of cars. Did Chris Stouffer make it out of that okay? Relatively unscathed or no? Oh man, the whole track. Daniel Hallis there in the 72. You see him come down to the inside line. The 22 gets collected there, smashes the 84 a second time. It looks like Chris Stouffer somehow, him and the number 5 of Bruce Pearson snuck through. Let's go back and look at the in-car cam here of Chris Stouffer and see what he saw during this whole debacle. So he's cruising along. He's right behind the 22. They get down here onto the backstretch.
Yeah, good driving by him, the 5, and Clay Phillips.
And he sees a car go straight into the outside wall. Oh my gosh, what a awesome drive-through by Chris Stouffer. I can't believe he stuck it by the wall and didn't hit anybody there. Didn't panic, kept his calm, stayed cool and collected, and actually made it through. Chris Stouffer needed that bad. Awesome recovery for him to drive through that.
Yeah, if you catch the recap from last night's race, that's similar to what I had to do for the big one at Grand National race. It's just you got to hit the brakes, you got to slow down, and then figure out where everyone's going. Take your time to weave through it. Don't try to motor through at 150, 170 miles per hour because it's just going to end bad. Get down, stop your car, figure out where everyone's going.
Yeah, and sometimes it can be tough because the tiniest little nudge from somebody in the back is going to send you, when you're doing 160 miles an hour in the forward direction, and you get turned, well, all those horsepower are still behind your wheels, and now you're doing 150 miles an hour right towards the wall. So roadblocks can pop up out of nowhere. We see everybody here in pit road. David Wellborn in the 25 has been in for 48 seconds. Matt Lovett, Mark Vega, Joseph Nover, Joe Burchett, Dustin Musel, James Pandoff, and Mike Springer all collected in that. Actually, it looks like James Pandoff just came in because he's in the back of the field. He just came in for a regular pit stop. Matt Lovett spends 55 seconds on pit road. Looks like he is getting himself out of the pits right now. And all these other drivers have spent significant time in pit lane, so quite a few drivers collected there. He owned it, you said, afterwards, right, Martin?
Yes, he did.
Yeah, we kind of, this is a gentleman's league, guys. Dynasty Racing League, again, the admins take care of things when they need to, but a lot of this is self-policing. When you cause an accident, you mic up over driver chat, you let everybody know, hey, it was my fault, I'm sorry, I apologize. Rivalries still happen. They happen quite often. You know, there's guys that are going to get a little heated racing. You know, if you've heard any of the NASCAR interviews and things like that, or seen the fights on live TV, you know, that stuff is going to happen. But all in all, these guys police themselves, and they you know, admit when they were at fault, and they get an end-of-line penalty and get moved to the back of the pack when they cause an accident, and continue from there. I think our top 5 still shakes out exactly the same, doesn't it, Martin? We got Blake in first, Chad Presnall. So this isn't exactly how they started on the last restart. Now you're going to see, well, I guess Chad was stuck on the outside before, but Anthony was not. Anthony was on that inside line. Who was up there behind Chad on that last restart? I'm trying to remember.
Can't remember.
Because he dipped down right behind Blake right after the flag went green.
Yep. He immediately got down into that inside line.
Yeah, so now you're going to have Chad is once again he's going to be on the outside, and we'll see if Wade Hudstad gives him the room. He gave him the room last time. Anthony Burrows is going to be on the outside, stuck behind the 55 there, and we'll see if he can actually get some help from behind or how he's going to manage this restart. I want to see a driver like Anthony Burrows and how he handles a restart here, because from what we've seen so far, that fourth place. Occasionally, the second place guy gets the opportunity to dip in line and run in that bottom line, but never 2 cars. There's never enough room for that, and normally that fourth place car gets shuffled back, what, 8, 9 positions, Martin?
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think John Mullins. Yeah, John Mullins was on the outside. He was the guy that started in 4th, where Anthony Burrows is now, and Mullins has shuffled back to 6th. Mullins is our Winter Series B split championship winner, so we had the 2 splits. We had champions for each of those, and he won the B split. But he's a guy that's making more of a showing this year. Racing, it wasn't as good of a driver last year as I recall in the Cup, but this year he's sticking his nose up in the top 10, and
yeah, he seems to have improved a lot. I think we had him. He was the championship of the B split. We have Blake Griffith there in the first position. He was the champion of the A split and the overall. So, awesome to see those guys out here doing good every week. John Mullins definitely he didn't fit himself into the top 10 nearly as often as we've seen him as of late. So it's good to see him up there running with some of those guys, and it just goes to show what some practice can do for you. Even at a track like Daytona, where everything's kind of unpredictable.
Yeah, for sure. We'll see where people can really shake out. Atlanta's going to be a better gauge of where people shake out as far as skill, but the guys up front here, they're the guys you would think would be up front. I mean, you got Blake Griffith, Wade Hustad, Anthony Burrows, Eric Johnson. Those are guys you expect to be in the front.
Yeah, well, and you talk about skill too, Martin, and I think I said it last week, but you have drivers that come out in real life and just do so good at these restrictor tracks. Maybe there's some skill I don't know about, but somehow there are guys that tend to be good at the restrictor plate tracks every single time. I don't know how they do it. It's maybe just some silent ninja skill that they have when driving their car, but there are some drivers that can just race these restrictor plate tracks better than others.
Yeah, but I think the restrictor plates are a great equalizer. It keeps everyone bunched up, and so as we take the green flag, you're in 10th place. You're still really close to the lead. You can... a track like Atlanta, you could be in 10th place and be out of it. Blake Griffith with a run Chad Presnall and Anthony Burrows gets down, and John Mullins is left out to dry, to hang out to dry.
Along with Blake Griffith here in the number 7 in first position. It's Cruz, and again, it looks like these guys are just going to go right back to the single file racing we've seen all night. I don't think they have much of a choice. And you know, there's some nerves out there that are running thin. You know, some of these guys have been in a little accident or two, and things maybe haven't gone their way all night, and they might start to explore some moves that maybe they shouldn't.
And John Mullins is falling way back. He's gonna, by the time he gets back in line, he's gonna dip back in line. I think he's gonna be back 10th, 11th, or 12th at that point.
Yeah, and
just
know,
in front
of
Christopher.
On that last restart, Anthony Burrows wasn't going to be able to. 2 cars weren't going to be able to sneak in. Well, Anthony Burrows made it happen. The 55 and Burrows both got down in there. Now you see Blake dipped low there onto the apron on the, on the straightaway, and the 55.
Yeah, now the 55 is out at no man's land.
Yeah, and now he's kind of stuck out there.
Oh, Eric Johnson got pushed out a little bit too. He's up there on that upside line.
Back inside, and the 21 gets pushed out. Nobody wants to be out there. We can see that.
Well, you got a freight train coming by, and then they're not going to let you in. It's very hard to get back in. As Daniel House will make the move on Eric Johnson, along with Aaron M. James, Getty Buckner, and then Mitchell Briggs. That train's probably going to all pass Eric Johnson. He's going to fall back probably the same spot as Mullins.
Yeah, Eric is still falling.
He should be able to slide in.
Passes in. Mitchell Briggs goes around now.
Yeah, he should be able to slide in front of Christopher, maybe. That gap's kind of closing,
That's
though.
where John Mullins fit himself in, but I don't know if the 21's going to be so fortunate. It's like
he got in there.
Being nice, letting people in the line. I don't know if he still has some damage from that wreck early in the race, but...
Yeah, part of that is you see a guy coming down. It's like, do you want to be aggressive and block that and then cause a wreck? Or do you just say, okay, come in, let you drive here, and then maybe we'll work together later in the race?
Yeah, sometimes it's a lot of give and take, and you have to let people, in the line if you expect any bit of reciprocation later in the race. Because a lot of times it's not on you to make the decision. It's whether he's going to let you in or not. Like Joe Burchett now has spent 490 seconds on pit road. Mike Springer almost up to 600 seconds in his pit box. They must be getting lengthy repairs on their vehicles. Again, Blake Griffith is our leader. He moved up from the 17th position. He likely started 1 or 2 positions higher than that, either 15th or 16th, because of the messed up starting grid. But awesome, man. He's been out here all night. I know he's now what, probably 10 laps short on fuel compared to these other guys. Or the question is, do the other cars that are on the track have the fuel to go the distance?
Yeah, it's gonna be tight. Well, we got blinking from Daniel Hallis, and Hallis is running 6th place. That's been blinking all day. Hopefully it stays sorted out.
Yeah, that'd be unfortunate for him to get moved to the back again. It seems like he kind of has Martin Wenzel syndrome.
All the way back.
Every time he gets up to the front, he starts to blink.
Yeah, sometimes the iRacing servers have it out for you. I think the most interesting part of these races going through this season is going to be seeing who these top guys are going to be. Like Charlie Ryan, new guy. I have no idea what his skill is, what he can do. You know, Wade Hustad's clearly got the IR. He's got the I rating, and so I figure he'll be a front-running guy. Chad Presnall, I don't even know his I rating, but he's hanging up there, top 3.
Yeah, Chad Presnall's at a 3,800. Wade Hudstad's at a 57.22. Charlie Ryan's at a 34.74.
Well, that explains it. So I should expect these guys to be top 10 runners.
Yeah, all of those guys have awesome I ratings. Chris Stouffer has a 39.74 I rating. Anthony Burrows at a 43.21. Blake Griffith at 28.33. So the competition stiffened up this year. It's not. I would say the average, if you didn't include the top 3 guys in the league last season, I would say the average was probably right around 2,000, 2,200, Martin.
I think a little bit lower than that. Usually, most of our winter series races, I mean, usually the strength of field was probably 1,900, maybe 2,000 if you had.
And here tonight, I mean, with all these guys in the 3, 4, 5, 6,000 I ratings, you have to have a significantly stronger strength of field. So, rather than it being, like you called it earlier, the Anthony Burrows and Eric Wolf show, we're actually going to have fierce competition from many of the drivers in the league this year.
Well, we mentioned it last week. Blake Griffith is a guy who has won some races. He's won, I think, at least 4 DRL races. He won 3 in the Winter Series, 1 in the Cup Series last year, if I'm not mistaken. And he gets down on himself. He thinks, man, these guys are too good for me. Here he is running out front, and he's beaten these guys before. So he just has to be confident that he can race with anyone out there.
Yeah,
Anthony Burrows is a tough kid, but, I mean, you can beat him.
Yeah, we've seen that CCR Toyota in the victory lane quite a bit recently. So he did take the championship in the Winter Series. We'll see if he can continue that run of dominance here in the Cup Series, being one of the I would say in these top 10 drivers right now, he probably has one of the bottom 4 I ratings. So awesome on him.
Well, yeah, I think for him, he's got to not worry so much about that I rating. He's a guy, I don't think he even races official races that much anymore, so that I rating is not going to change, so don't worry about it, because I'm sure if you went out into official races, that thing is going to go up or down. It's all based on your luck sometimes, especially if you're running a Daytona week. That I rating can go 1,000 points either way, depending on how you finish.
Oh, yeah, and I've had mine jump 900 points in the course of 2 weeks, so that can definitely happen. If you're out there racing for just safety rating, you can, avoid wrecks but not finish so well and your I rating drops. Or if you're out there just racing for I rating, sometimes you tank on the safety rating. So there's no way to make it perfect. Best thing you can do is just come out and get as much practice as you can every week. That's why we're following the exact schedule this year, and try to put it together at the end of the week here in the DRL.
Yeah, and about the we got a turn right there. That's 5, and I think Adam Chapman.
The number 5 of Bruce Pearson. It looked like he just went brutally. He went into that wall. I think he had to have gotten turned.
Yeah, Adam Chapman hooks him here.
Right in the wall with Bruce Pearson and the number 5, Adam Chapman.
Adam Chapman hooks him right into the wall, and Adam Chapman goes to the inside wall, nice and hard.
Oh, yeah, Chapman moved up on the way out of that corner. Bruce Pearson stayed down, and then Adam Chapman tried to fall back in line and was just too close to the back of Bruce Pearson and turned his car directly into the wall there. Did Chapman take much damage from that?
Oh, he hit the inside wall front end pretty hard. So, yes, he did. Both him and Pearson, front ends are going to be hurting. And Eric Johnson caught a little of that as he went through.
Oh, yeah.
Those cars split in front of him.
Add into the... Wow. Adam Chapman had so many opportunities to try to save his car there. It was just doing donuts through that inside or infield. Smashes into the inside wall there.
Yeah, it wasn't on purpose. It was nothing intentional. It's just that's racing at Daytona. You're really close. I did it during practice. I tried to move down, and you just misjudged that distance you would need to leave, actually. So,
Martin, I'm starting to think that that these guys have enough fuel to go the whole way.
Some of them must. I mean, if they haven't come in, they're gonna.
Oh, and right as I say that, Blake Griffith pulls down pit road.
Well, he might have been a guy. Yeah, he might have been right on the edge. Some of those guys, if they haven't pit, we didn't keep really good track of where they pit, but I think some of those guys pit around lap 55. That's going to be pushing it if he stayed out.
Yeah, significant. It looks like Blake Griffin was only in his pits for 6 seconds. He must have taken 0 tires and
Yeah,
just a tank of fuel.
splash of fuel. Yeah.
Eric Johnson came in. Clay Phillips, Bruce Pearson, Dustin Musial, Mark Vega, John Mullins, James Pandolf, Joseph Nover, and Mike Springer all came. Actually, Mike Springer's been in the pits for a significant amount of time now. But all those other cars, they all did come down pit road. Now it looks like Blake is going to have a bit of a fight ahead of himself to get back to the front of this pack.
Yeah, 20 laps. Yeah, Adam Chapman has gotten out of his car. Joe Burchett is out of his car. Joseph Nover is still in the pits. Looks like he's getting work done. He might try to come back out. He's 6 laps down currently. And James Pandolf in 23rd is on the back of... is at the end of the lead lap, right? Should be.
Yeah.
So we still got quite a few cars. I mean, we started the race with 31, got 23 on the lead lap. That's to be expected at Daytona. You're going to have a little bit of attrition, but that big one didn't take too many people out, actually.
I want to pull Adam Chapman in here. Chat with him. Hey, Adam, are you there, my friend? Ah. Like Adam has stepped away for now. I just wanted a brief interview with him after that wreck. That's an unfortunate way to end it there. I'm sure he didn't mean to do what he did, but again, guys, as I said earlier, stuff happens after try to make it. I mean, it takes 2 to 3 seconds for these cars to react to your input. So when you go into these corners trying to hug that yellow line, the car is pushing itself up the track, and you have to fight the car down to the yellow line. I mean, you have to do it with a balance as to not scrape your tires off. And the same thing goes for little things like that. When the bumper in front of you wiggles to the left and you wiggle to follow it, if you're right on the tail of it, you're going to hit it in the back right. And at that point, it's too late. They're going sideways, and that's a wreck.
Let's bring Bruce Pearson in here. Bruce Pearson, you got a copy?
Yes, I do.
Ryan, you got any questions?
Hey, man.
Yeah.
What happened there? I know it had to be some hard feelings by him. Doubt he meant it, but kind of got shoved there into the wall. Is there any way you could have avoided that? Do you think it was all on him?
Yeah, Adam and I have raced before. It was just a matter of we had to do something to try to get around those guys. He had to run a couple times and had to go back in, and I thought he was coming out. I thought he'd go, and we go to the front. We just got into each other.
Oh, so you guys were actually trying to work together, getting a little bump there and trying to draft with one.
Well, he may not have known I was trying to work, but I saw him coming and figured, you know, what the heck, give it a shot. We don't that outside line had to get going somehow.
Right, we saw people trying to make that outside line work all day, and it hasn't come to fruition, really. But you figure here towards the end of the race, somebody's got to try to make it work at some point. Fortunate end to your night. Hopefully we'll see you back next week in Atlanta. What you'd like to say hey to while you're in here with us?
I can barely hear it, but I've got no hard feelings with Adam. It seems like you're a good guy. We'll just write it out and see what we can do.
All right, Bruce. Good luck, man. Have a good night.
Yeah. Good luck.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, some of these guys have their volume turned up in iRacing to the point where they can't hear our chat tool volume level so well. So.
Yeah, well, when you're in that car, it's kind of hard to hear sometimes.
Yeah, the engines are very loud. I don't know how many people that are watching tonight have actually been to a NASCAR race, but they're not quiet. Let's put it at that.
All right, let's see what we got up here. We got Anthony Burrows, Chad Presnell, Wade Hustad, Charlie Ryan, and Daniel Hallis in 5th place, even after getting the end of line for having his blinking issues. Hopefully those issues don't come back.
Yeah, and then getting
he's
into
making a run for a win
bit
here.
of a wreck right afterwards. So if they don't come
Yeah.
back, if he doesn't pull another Martin, hopefully he'll be up here racing for a win at the end.
Yeah, well, my guy Anthony Burrows is in the lead right now, so let's see if he can hold on for, what, 16 laps?
Oh, don't brag because you took the safe bet, Martin. As Anthony Burrows gets off to a quick start.
Is anything safe at Daytona?
That's true, it's not. The 55, once again, third restart in a row. Chad Presnall just ducks right down into that line. This time, Anthony Burrows, who was following him on the last restart, is actually leading him going into turn 1 here. So
The field is kind of scattered behind this front line. I think the restart was a little silly, maybe, but
yeah, it seems like they're kind
looks
of
like
all
it's
over
getting
the
squared
place.
Blake Griffith in 17th, trying to work past Matt Lovett, working his way back up to the front of the field. Still has a shot. I mean, that's with Daytona. 17th is not completely out of it.
I've got him in 14th position
Yeah,
right
14th
now.
now.
As he moves
So
to
he
the
gained a few
outside
positions
there, the 14. I don't know if that's the right decision. He needs to work with the 14 and get himself back up to this pack here. He does not want to lose that draft. As these two cars go in and out, in and out, in and out, all over one another. Blake is getting very close to the wall. Here on the rear chase car cam of Blake Griffith as he goes back to the yellow line, and it looks like he's
he's gonna have to
just 14, just work with
work together, get
up
up to that pack first before making a move.
Check back on Blake here in a minute and go back to the front. Still Anthony Burrows in first, Chad Presnall in second, Wade Hudstad in third, and Charlie Ryan in fourth position. Daniel Hallis is in fifth still, Martin, but there's a bit of a gap between him and the 16, huh?
Yeah, there's a few gaps coming here. You got a gap between 16 and the 72. Then there's a gap between the 66 and the 38. And the 38 until the 07. So it's getting a little strung out here as we get late in the race when people are going to actually want to make moves. And now it's not going to work because people are falling apart.
I mean, there's some guys, there's guys here and there with tiny bits of damage throughout the field. So not everybody has the aero that the other cars have. And again, you see Blake Griffith back there in the 14 still, or trying to push the 14 and catch up to this pack. I'm sure, right now he's screaming, get out of the way, but, if it wasn't for the 14, he'll never catch the pack. So they have to work together and try to, get at least one solid line formed again so they can make two lines work in these last 5 laps.
Yeah, try to hook up with Chris James in front of them. Chris James and David Wright are the next two cars, and then you have, who we got? Joshua Wakefield, Chris Stouffer, and Mitchell Briggs have a 3-car pack right ahead of them. So if you can hook those two up, you'll have 7 cars, and then you'll be able to make some moves.
Looks like Blake drops just under the 14 there.
Yeah, I think he's going to be able to get into line here with Chris James. And then Lovett will have to pull behind them.
Blake is being very, very impatient right now. He didn't want to be behind the 14. The first millisecond he got the opportunity, he pulled out from behind him, and it looks like the 14 is going to lose the draft. He must have a little bit of damage.
Yeah, 14 has some damage on the front end there, so yeah, he's definitely going to fall back now.
After running in the lead for as long as he did, you got to imagine Blake is just trying to fight his way back up there and try to get a win here.
Well, I'm not sure. Yeah, I mean, he must have needed that fuel. And if he doesn't need that fuel, he's going to be kicking himself if he can't get back into the lead.
He had to have needed it. Maybe it was one of those decisions, too, Martin. If another caution comes out, he might have been good. And if another caution didn't come out, he might have been running out of fuel in the last lap. So it might have just been a precautionary measure by him. But it's better to be safe than sorry.
Well, David Wright and Blake are talking over the radio. They want to make something happen. So there you go. There goes David Wright. I don't know if that's a little too early, though. A little too early for those 3 guys to go out on the outside line. But we'll see.
And another line.
Got Joshua Wakefield, Mitchell Briggs. David Wright's going to pile back down. He didn't like to stay up there. And they're gonna slide in. Griffith and Wright are gonna slide in behind Stouffer. Now you got 6 cars in a pack here.
This is where things can get squirrely. You have 3 cars running out front for the lead. You have a pack of 4 and a pack of 6.
Yeah, and Charlie Ryan's on the outside in that pack of 4.
You have him on the outside, but you also have a very damaged car, Chris Stouffer, on the inside, kind of leading that pack. I don't know if that's the best position, as you see Blake move to the outside and try to go around him. That's what Blake is trying to do, is just make a move around a couple of these damaged vehicles and then get himself back in line with the undamaged guys like Anthony Burrows and Chad Presnall and Wade Hudstad and see if he can actually get to the front. But it's tough, man, when, you know, Chris Stouffer is hugging that inside line down there. He can't really do much to get around him.
Well, I think the plan is for the 44 and the 7 to work together here. David Wright and Griffith, they're going to work together, and they've gained 4 positions doing that. So, and they're making moves. They're getting close. They're now coming up on Charlie Ryan's bumper, and now they're with that lead pack. And so,
yeah, they got
Griffith has a
out
shot.
of that pack of 6 and moved up to the pack of 4 up there that was formulated a couple minutes. They moved to the
looks
outside.
like they're going to work with Charlie Ryan now. Picked him up, and Getty Buckner's going to pull out. So we got 4 on the outside line.
Once again, you see Blake is going to work with David Wright. They kind of move out to try to act like they're going to make that outside line work, and then they pull back in on the inside. And these 4 cars, if they can all push up behind Anthony Burrows, they can... are we going to go 3 wide, Martin?
No, we should be fine. Chad Presnall, though, in the lead. Wade Hustad going to pull in the second. Getty Buckner, that outside line, pushed Chad Presnall to the lead.
Yeah, but that's the only person.
Whoa, car goes off. Who just went off the track?
That was Daniel Hallis. That must have been a...
Okay, he might be blinking, maybe?
Yeah, that must have been a connection issue. Daniel Hallis sped to the inside wall, and it looks like he might come back out onto the track. What's going on with Daniel Hallis?
I'm going to get a replay and see what happened. He was right behind Anthony Burrows.
Daniel Hallis just comes back to the apron and slow riding around now. No yellow flag comes out. We're on 92 out of 100. And the field kind of shook up there at the front, man.
I have no idea what happened.
He might have got
Hallis.
touched.
He just went completely. He just turned left right into the apron, and like he didn't stop turning.
That might have been a connection issue, just like Getty Buckner had last week. Remember when he pulled off just like that? It almost looked exactly the same. So
he was blinking though. Now Daniel Hallis did not blink at all for me on the screen, so I don't know why he pulled off. If he just felt he was blinking, something must happen on his screen on his end. But Chad Presnall is in the lead, Wade Hustad in second, and Anthony Burrows in third, I believe, right? And then Getty Buckner right on the outside of him.
It looked like that outside line worked, but it worked just long enough for Chad Presnall to get himself into first position. So what he did was use the momentum coming off the corner to take that outside line, and then as soon as he dropped back in, the outside line lost all their momentum. But again, you see Blake Griffith, he's moved himself. If the inside line goes all the way around the outside and they all have to drop in behind, he's actually moved himself back into 5th, which is pretty impressive.
Yeah, currently 8th, 7th or 8th now, as he passes Charlie Ryan for 7th. Chad Presnall, a rookie.
In 5th position. Wright is in 4th. Presnall's in 1st. Anthony is in David. Now they're back to the single file thing. Last week we saw in Anthony was sitting in Chad Presnall's current position. Eric Pemberton just behind. Got the car behind him, which I believe was Charlie Ryan, to follow and push him right around and take the win. I have to fancy a guess that Anthony is thinking the same exact thing this week.
All right, we got 6 laps to go, 5 laps to go coming up. Oh, they went to the high side, and I think they're losing a little bit of momentum, David Wright and Griffith, though.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that was the best decision, but the 32 decided to take the inside line and not go with them. See if that pays
Anthony Burrows
off.
is going to come up.
There's still 5
and we have
laps
Mike
to go.
Springer ahead of them. Let's see if they can get past Mike Springer with no incident. Yep, just fine.
Mike Springer puts himself in the wall. Just a hair.
Yeah, just
now
be
you got
safe.
Anthony and David Wright working for Now you have Anthony Burrows working with David Wright and Blake on the outside.
Yeah, this is going to be a two wide finish. They're getting up to 200 going into the corner. Ooh, Burrows falls back. Wade Hustad's going to pull into third. Aaron James in second, and Chad Presnall in first.
Martin, this is going to get crazy at the end of the race here, man. I can't wait to see this finish.
Woo.
These cars are weaving everywhere. They're getting light. They're running out of fuel. The tires are getting old, and they're coming down to the very last couple laps of this race.
Yeah, we got 3 Chevys in the top 3. And then we got 2 Fords. Well, actually 3 Fords, and then a Toyota bringing up the rear with Blake Griffith there.
At 66, looks like he might want to make a move out in front of Anthony Burrows and see if he can make that outside line work. Maybe that's what he tries to do to get around Chad Presnall in the 55?
Yeah, slingshot for the win here. Lap 99, 100, probably just pull out, and that's when you do it.
Again, I think he's just going to hold it safe for now, stay where he's at. If he makes that move with too many laps to go, he's going to be in trouble. So you kind of want to wait.
Yeah, make it with white flag lap. That's when you maybe backstretch there. Going into the backstretch, pull out, and slingshot to the lead.
That's exactly how Derek Pemberton did it last week in our race. So we'll see if Aaron James can make that happen tonight.
Ooh, Wade Hustad kind of. Well, Wade Hustad's going to go on the outside. He's got Anthony Burrows right on his bumper. So the outside line has 4 cars, inside 3.
That was surprising to me. I mean, Anthony had dropped back just far enough for Wade to jump out there, and now it looks like
Aaron
that
James
outside
is
line might be pushing.
Oh, there goes Charlie Ryan coming out.
Oh,
and David Wright's going to slip down now.
And Blake kind of got the shaft there. He moves back a little bit, but it looks like... Oh!
Whoa! Aaron James did he just push Presnall down into the apron?
I don't know. Is Presnall out of fuel?
We're going to have to go back and look at that replay after this race ends and see what happened there, but looks like Wade Hustad, it's going to be a battle between Wade Hustad and Anthony Burrows, because right now it's single file, but...
Oh, and
blocking going, a lot of blocking. Oh, Wade Hustad swerving back and forth to keep Burrows behind him.
Awesome job by him. Blake moves up into the 4th position. Anthony Burrows, he wants this win. You can tell he wants this
Burrows
win.
Going to the outside.
He's not going to be able to block him this time. And Burrows has no help. He might end up getting the shaft here.
Oh, no, he's going to fall back to 4th. Oh, no.
Oh, no, and a huge wreck comes out. Blake Griffith's on the inside.
Is Blake Griffith going to be able to hang on? Oh, no.
He tries to put the block on.
Oh! No, that's me, David Wright for the win. Is that David Wright for the win?
And you see Blake Griffith coming across. Does he come across the start-finish line? No, he doesn't. Anthony Burrows comes across the start-finish line. David Wright sneaks in for the win? What a finish.
Oh, my God. David Wright was running 5th there, and everyone in front of him turned each other. All right,
let's go back and look.
What number is David Wright? 44.
44. We're going to go back and look at this from the chopper perspective. You see Anthony Burrows finally gets around to the outside of the 32. Blake Griffith is following them on the inside. And the 16, it looks like, just clips the 32 in the rear in the corner. That didn't have to happen. Blake Griffith barely catches him. And then Blake is damaged by the incident and tries to hold off Anthony Burrows as David Wright collects his free win. You see...
Chad Presnall must have run out of gas there, and that slowed up him and Aaron James going into that white flag.
Blake Griffith actually backs across the start-finish line there. Collects the 6th position. Oh, well, that was the finish we love to see here at Daytona, man. That was exciting to watch.
Wow, I was not expecting that at all. I was thinking, okay, it's going to be Wade Hustad.
Am I wrong? Did Aaron M. James come in and sneak the 2nd place finish?
He might have, because James was still running. He was he fell way back when Chad Presnall and him kind of made contact with Presnall. I think must have run out of gas. Wow, what a finish. Yeah, I mean, the 16 turns Hustad, and then Blake Griffith looks like he's in the driver's seat. David Wright makes some contact with Anthony Burrows, and yeah, wow, David Wright for the win.
Yeah, and then the 66 sneaks in. Aaron James gets the second place finish, and Anthony Burrows gets the third place. That was insane. That was kind of dirty. I think
Bummer for Blake Griffith though to finish 19th to finish the race, going from first to 19th there. That is, I mean, Anthony Burrows ends up third.
Backwards.
Yeah.
I thought he rolled across the start-finish line. 6th or 7th.
Nope, he's 19th on mine.
Wow. I think a lot of that was Blake's fault. He tried to block there, Anthony.
Well, I think Blake was running, and the problem with Burrows is Burrows was right there, and then David Wright might have given a little nudge to Burrows as well. And it just everyone just kind of was a little bit discombobulated there because of Wade Hustad and Charlie Ryan turning in front of him. I don't think there was any intentional. It was just that was just a continuation of one little wreck there.
So if we go look at Griffith crosses the start-finish line. Granted, he does it below the apron, but so I don't know if there's a mess up with their.
Yeah, I'm not sure why he ends up so far back. Yeah, must have gotten penalized for going through the pits or doing something.
All that being said, David Wright is our winner here tonight at the Daytona 250. Kind of a very unexpected finish. It was very enjoyable to watch, though. Awesome show these guys put on tonight. We're going to go ahead and go through and put our drivers. Talk to some of these
Who
guys.
do you want first?
Let's
third place.
Let's get David Wright in here.
There you go.
David, you got a copy? David, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Hey, man, that was probably the craziest finish I've seen at a Daytona yet. I've seen some guys be pushed across the line, but nothing like that, man. Congratulations on the win tonight. You were really, really patient, and it all paid off, man. How you feeling?
Oh man, I'm gonna tell you what. You know, it takes a lot of luck to win at Daytona. You got to put yourself in the right place. Be patient. Been wrecked out of so many, but we tried to get the high line going there towards the end. Myself and Blake Griffith and a couple others, and the high line just wasn't going well. And we had a big checkup, and I ended up back in the bottom. And then the two that were on the inside the bottom, I guess, got together and they checked up and dropped off the inside of the track. And man, it was just one of them things, just right place, right time. What can you say?
Yeah, man, awesome finish. You were on the perfect side of it. Anthony and Blake, I can't believe they got tangled up there in the last few seconds, and you avoided them, which was really good. It looks like our race is a little messed up because I know you guys had issues with qualifying there. It says you started 15th. Where did you start tonight? 13th position?
Somewhere around there. I'll be honest. As long as you're starting near the front and don't have it's hard to pass with this package, with the A car. And so I was in the top half of the field, and the outside line. I'm gonna tell you what. When you restart on the outside line, it's horrible. You're going to lose a minimum of 4 spots, and just again, it takes a lot of luck, a lot of patience, and and in my case, right place at the right time. I'm not the first person to win one that way, and by gosh, I'm going to enjoy it.
Yeah, congratulations again, man. Hopefully, we'll see you again next week at Atlanta. Awesome start to the season here. Is there anyone you want to give a shout out to?
I got to give a shout out to my sponsor, Tri Computer Works, and everybody at Dynasty Racing and Fastlane, and all y'all guys in the booth for what y'all doing. Y'all didn't take the time to do what y'all do. We couldn't take time to be down here and do what we do. So thanks to everyone that puts it all together.
Awesome. Congrats again, David. Go enjoy that victory, man.
10-4. Thank you much.
All right, Martin, let's go ahead and pull in. Let's see here. Second position. Aaron M. James in the 66. Get him in here. Aaron, you got a copy?
Yes, sir. You got me?
Hey man, you sound a little fuzzy, but I can hear you just fine. Right place at the right time, just like David Wright, who just spoke with us. Man, that was. It looked like you fell off there towards the end with the 55. I don't know if he ran out of fuel, if there was some net code. What happened to you two when you dropped to that inside lane? But it all worked out in the end, and you came away with a second place finish. How's it feel?
Oh, it feels great to start off the season like that. You know, you're right. I went to hit the 55, give him a little bump, and I don't know if he ran out of fuel or what, but he started drifting down. I just caught him wrong in the corner. At that point, I thought I was going to get freight train there at the end, but then the wreck worked in my favor.
Yeah, man, it all worked out. I that was one of the craziest and fun finishes I've ever seen at Daytona. Martin seemed to enjoy it himself. We were screaming and hooting and hollering like a couple little school kids. So um, it was fun to watch, man. And congratulations on the second place finish. Good start out to the to this season. Do you plan to be here all season long?
I do, yeah. I plan on running all the races, so real happy with with the points we got tonight.
Awesome, man. Well, congratulations on second again. Is there anyone you want to say hey to, give a shout out to?
Yeah, you know, big thanks to Fastlane for sponsoring us, let us come out and do this, and you guys there broadcasting. I can't wait to get out and see the race on YouTube. Shout outs to my uncle and my dad. They watched every race last season. They're going to watch every race this season.
Awesome, man. Well, enjoy the second place finish, and hopefully we'll see you next week at Atlanta.
Thanks, bud.
Have a good night. All right, Martin, we're going to pull in Anthony Burrows, our third place finisher in the 62. Anthony, you got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Hey, man, I thought we might end up seeing you again tonight. Started on the pole, finished in third. Absolute ridiculous finish to that race there. Looks like you had the speed coming down on the inside of Blake, and he really didn't want to let you have it. He thought he could edge you out, but he was a little damaged and a little slow from what had transpired just prior. How do you feel with the third place finish, and how are you feeling in general right now?
Obviously I'm a little upset I didn't get the win, but I can't really be too upset about third at Daytona, especially. Yeah, I saw the 44 coming up out of 4, and I tried getting in front of him so he could give me a shove. I could get Blake at the line, but yeah, there's really nothing you could do at that point. Once I got below that double yellow line.
Yeah, you guys. I don't know. It looked like your cars just connected to one another. Blake. It seemed like he moved down, and he didn't want to give you the position. But once you got into him, you couldn't really get off of him, and it kind of just forced both of you guys down towards that wall. He ended up backing across the start finish line, so not an ideal finish, but it is a third place. We saw you in victory circle a lot last season. Didn't quite pull it out tonight, but I'm sure you'll be back many, many more times this season. You're going to be here for the whole Cup Series?
Yeah, I may miss a few races here and there, but I plan to run as many races as possible.
Awesome, man. Well, it was fun to watch you guys. Anybody you want to give a shout out to or say hey to?
Yeah, shout out to everyone in that finish. Wade, I think it was Chad, Blake, David, Aaron, all of them for racing clean. That was a ton of fun. Huge shout out for you guys putting on the broadcast, and James and all of them putting on this league. This is going to be a fun season.
Thanks a ton, Anthony. Thanks for joining us tonight, and we'll see you next week in Atlanta.
Thank you.
Well, Martin, that was awesome, awesome, awesome race to watch, man. Let's go down here.
Yes, it was.
See what we had. Just to give you guys the ending grid here, we had David Wright in first, Aaron James in second, Anthony Burrows in third. Chris James takes fourth in the 82. Mitchell Briggs takes fifth. Mitchell Briggs, we haven't seen him in some time. Awesome for him to come back and get a fifth place finish. Wade Hudstad takes sixth. Yeah, last season didn't. He
didn't have a ton of luck.
He really didn't. Awesome to see him come back and get a fifth place finish. A top 5 to start this season off. So. Getty Buckner in 7th, Christopher in 8th, Joshua Wakefield in 9th position. 10th goes to John Mullins. 11th position is Eric Johnson. 12th is Clay Phillips in the 6th. Matt Lovett in 13th. Jordan Gonzalez in 14th. Jordan came back to get the 14th place finish there. Awesome by him. Dustin Musial takes 15th. David Wellborn 16th. James Pandoff 17th. Mark Vega 18th. Blake Griffith finishes in 19th. And Charlie Ryan finishes in 20th. The first car a lap down.
Yeah, Charlie Ryan was up there right at the end. Him, Ryan, and Presnell, those guys were fighting for that win there on lap 99, going into the white flag, and they got turned, and Presnell ran out of gas, and
yeah, that's very.
So you can see how things can change really quick.
Yeah, you see Presnell finish in 22nd in the 55. Bruce Pearson in 22nd. Daniel Hallis in 23rd. Joseph Nover in 24th. Adam Chapman in 25th. Mike Springer in 26th, Joe Burchett in 27th, Derek Pemberton 28th, Brandon Dalton 29th, John Gesko 30th.
And Connor Lane.
And then Connor Lane in 31st. Yep, and you guys see here, Tater Bowman and John Peterson, they actually did
Peterson
not race
didn't,
tonight.
Yeah, Peterson didn't actually come on the track. I mean, he was in the race.
And Tater Bowman is our race control. So.
Yeah, I'm not sure what happened to Peterson. He just didn't actually go out and race.
We're going to pull up the next race of this series, guys. We'll be back here next Tuesday night, me and Martin. Same starting time, 9:25 p.m. Eastern. We're going to be at Atlanta Motor Speedway in Hampton, Georgia. Should be fun, Martin. Mile-and-a-half track, 250 miles at Atlanta. It should be slippery. It should be absolute awesome mile-and-a-half action next week, yeah?
Yeah, I like Atlanta. I mean, I liked it in the trucks this past season. I almost got a win there. Me and Mullins had a nice last turn wreck, speeding across. I got second place going backwards, so it should be a fun race. Should be fun in the Cup cars. Haven't done a lot of that. There should be some spinning wheels on the restarts, so hopefully don't have too much of that with these guys having some experience.
Oh yeah, if you hammer on it, even in second gear, you can still get those wheels to go. Get the car to go sideways on you. So people are going to have to be wary and very careful of that. Let's see. Then we're going to look at the next race period for Dynasty Racing League TV. That's tomorrow night. Daniel Hallis will be here. I think Tyler is going to join him. And then I think David Wellborn is also going to make an appearance tomorrow night.
Yeah. Taylor Butcher Benjamin, I believe, is going to be in there with him. Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah, Taylor Butcher Benjamin, he's just getting his start, Daniel Hallis and Taylor, as far as broadcasting goes. So, David Wellborn will be stepping in tomorrow at least, maybe for a couple weeks to kind of help guide those guys through and get them used to the whole broadcasting thing. That's going to be right back here at Daytona. It's 125 in the truck series. I'm actually running in it. Martin, you're running in it. You'll see both of us competing tomorrow night and hopefully being interviewed like some of these guys were this evening.
Yeah, I hope my luck holds like it did in the Grand National race.
Yeah, right.
No incidents. No incidents.
I think you were the only
car
right?
to finish. Yep, only car with no incidents. Well, in the top, like on the lead lap, I believe. I think there were a few cars that had no incidents, but they kind of dropped out early, I think.
It's awesome. I mentioned earlier, guys. Let me pull up the credits here. I mentioned all of this earlier. James Pandoff, Tater Bowman, the owners of the league. Tater Bowman got everything kicked off last year with the whole financing last year's Cup Series.
Yep.
Martin, everything you do as far as graphics go, we greatly appreciate it. And Jordan for actually getting them onto our screen with all the programs that I have to use while broadcasting and our other broadcasters use. Myself, Taylor, David, Daniel, Chris James, Martin, you, all the guys that come out and broadcast. All the admins of the league, again, guys, I've said it a few times tonight, they do everything to take care of the guys and make sure that, this stays a league of gentlemen. I got to commend them on that. The eventual goal would be to be the premier series of iRacing. So tons of credit to all the guys that make that happen behind the scenes. And I think that's it for us for tonight. Martin, you got anything else you want to say to the viewers before we go?
We've had two really good races so far. I mean, we had a few hiccups in the Grand National race, and then we had a hiccup with the qualifying for this race, but I think they were two really good, exciting races, great, exciting finishes. And looking forward to the truck race tomorrow, finishing up the week at Daytona, and then Atlanta should be a whole different animal. So
Yeah, I can't wait to
Tune
head
in.
into Atlanta next week. It's going to be fun. Got to try to get tomorrow's truck race out of the way. But this Cup Series looks promising, man. Awesome racing at the front all night, and even some fun racing at the back. So I can't wait to see what else these guys have left to offer. And thank you, everybody who tuned in this evening. And we will see you next week.
Yep. See ya.